Good morning. We're continuing in the essay, the Hasidic Discourse, which was said about 250 years ago, and it's written in this book called Torah Or by the first Rebbe of Chabad, the one who wrote the Tanya, Rebbe Shneur Zalman. And here we're talking about the first sentence in this week's Torah portion, which says that the Jewish people should bring crushed up oil from a crushed up olives. They should bring this oil to Moses in order to light the lights of the menorah in the Holy Temple. And up to now, we've been discussing how is this found inside of us. Like we said a lot of times, the whole point of the Torah is that everything that's in the Torah is inside of us. And the teachings of Hasidut, especially Chabad Hasidut, explains what this means and how this is supposed to be practical for each and every one of us and possible for each and every one of us. Oh. Good morning, Yaakov. Okay, so what do we say? Aaron, he lights the lights in the Holy Temple. He wrote the lights. He lights the lights. Before he lit the lights, as he has to prepare them. He has to prepare them. The menorah, before he lights the menorah, he has to prepare it. He has to put in wicks. He has to clean out the old dirty wicks, and he has to prepare it so that the fire remains burning. Right? That it's a good candle, a good lamp. And he has to put in pure olive oil, which comes from crushed olives. Interestingly enough, the Torah says that this pure olive oil, God tells Moses to tell the Jewish people to bring him to Moses this olive oil, and then Moses gives it to Aaron. Okay, so up to now, we haven't discussed the seemingly unnecessary process of the Jewish people bringing it to Moses and Moses giving it to Aaron. Why not just give it to Aaron? So first of all, the Rebbe explains, what is this idea of Aaron lighting up the lamps as far as me and you are concerned? What do we care? What do we care? And what did it do back then? So the Rebbe points out to us that even though the Torah might be very old, Torah 3,000 years old, but people are exactly the same as they were when man was created. And they have the same purpose in the world. And the purpose that every single person has in the world is to improve the world according to the Creator's, manufacturer's orders. The Creator of the world gave the Torah in order so we should know how to fix up the world. One necessary ingredient in fixing up the world is you have to have good tools to fix up anything. In this case, what are the tools? Us. Our minds, our hearts, our actions, our deeds, our thoughts. Those are the tools we use in order to fix up the world. And of course, we're also part of the world. And so what's the goal over here? The goal is to reveal the truth. The goal is to reveal something that's so valuable and happy and precious and alive and real and true, namely our Creator. When we reveal the Creator and we reveal that the Creator cares about the world, then we feel tremendously good and happy. He's creating us, and He's creating us for a purpose. And that the result of that feeling of that is happiness, joy, and love. I am being created right now by the Creator for free gift. I'm getting it all the time. And by thinking about what we have, then we'll start to realize that we have infinitely more than we can possibly imagine. Namely, what? The will and the attention and the purpose of the Creator of the universe Himself constantly is giving it to us. So we can feel that gives birth to love. And that's the object of Aaron. Aaron draws down this inspiration to the Jewish people. He draws down happiness to the Jewish people. He draws down love to the Jewish people with the goal of arousing the Jews. Not that they should enjoy this happiness and just be happy all the time, to inspire them to do what everyone is created for, serving God. Serving God. Every Jew, every human being feels that they're here for a reason. This can be made, this also can be misused and give people false guilt feelings and guilt, and you're guilty and you have to be saved. And this, the fact of the matter is that everyone created has a purpose for every single second, because you're being created every second. And the only one that can reveal this is the Jews. And that was the thing of Aaron. Aaron was there to light up the Jews. Light up the Jews. Okay. Because he said, where did Aaron light these lights? Where did he light them? He said he lit them outside of the Prochet. He lit them outside in the room between the outside courtyard and the Holy of Holies, the room which is called the Holy. That's where he lit it, and that's called outside of the Prochet, outside of the veil, the curtain that's separated between the Holy and the Holy of Holies. Okay, so that's the idea of a Prochet. So let's do this. Here we are. Let us make this bigger. Make the picture great again. Here we go. 1 minute. 1 minute. No, I pressed the wrong one. Okay, here we go. There we go. A pointer. Oh. But that's the idea of Hidila Parocha. That's the idea that there has to be a separation between holy and the holy of holies. B'Sham, and there is the inyan of Arichos and Neros. That's where Aaron, he prepared the lamps of the menorah, and that's where he prepared for us. He drew down to us this simcha shel mitzvah, the joy of doing a commandment. Michutz leparochas, davka, outside of the holy of holies, outside of the holy of. Now, what was in the holy of holies? And the holy of holies was the Torah, and the high priest could only go in once a year. And essentially, what was in the holy of holies was the same revelation as Mount Sinai. It says in Mount Sinai, when God spoke to the Jews, it says the revelation was so powerful of the truth that they couldn't take it. They couldn't, utilize it in their day-to-day life and personality. Their souls just jumped out of their bodies. It was too much. It's like giving a poor person in the street $100 million, right? He just doesn't know what to do with it. He'll go and buy like 100 bottles of vodka or something like that, and after the first one, he dies. People, they just didn't know. It was just too good. But that was in the Holy of Holies. So in the Holy of Holies, there's too much truth. But there's what's called the holy. The holy, that's what this world is supposed to be. What does it mean, holy? We talked about this last time. Holy means a revelation of God. And God is so unlike any other thing we can possibly imagine, because God is creating everything. This whole world is, in comparison to the Creator, this whole world is like a dream. It's like it's not really there. It's like somebody bragging to you, that he wants a job or something, and he's bragging to you that he's a millionaire and he's a genius and he's a philosopher and he's a professor and he has 5 professors. And then there comes along a person who's really a millionaire and shows that this person is just a liar. So at first you were really interested in the person, the first guy, the liar. You were really interested. But when someone really has these things, then you realize the first thing was the same thing. The first one was a liar. The same thing as this world. The world is a big lie. It's called Almul Shikra. It seems to be really real. It seems to be really real. It's to the degree that it says after a person dies, it's called Olam HaEmet, the world of truth. But the fact is, both of them are lies. It's just that when a person dies, he sees the fact that they were both lies. He sees that really God is creating everything. That this world and the world to come are really not where it's at. That's why it's called the world of truth. Here we don't see that. The word in the Holy of Holies, that was like the revelation of Mount Sinai, pure truth. It was too much for people. Ideally, it's supposed to be the revelation of God is supposed to be in this world, but in a way we can take it. That's what's called the lower unity of God. That's what's called the Yechudi Tato. That's what's called the lower unity in this world. That was what was revealed in the the holy, where the menorah was and where the face bread was, and the altar, the incense altar. That's where Aaron stood. That was also called the tent of meeting. It's called the lower unity. In other words, everything seems to be real reality, but you know it's not so. Something like going to heaven. You know that there's a creator, but you don't know what it is. In this world, we don't even know that there's a creator. Yechudi Tatoa, Liot, to be Ratz Libacha, that in the outer unity, the lower unity, what's called, where you know that God exists, but you don't feel it, and that your heart has a desire, Ratz Libacha, your heart desires to the upper unity. That's this idea of happiness. Simcha Zuli Bachinas Ratzoi. This joy that we have when we feel that we're being created, when you feel that we're being created for a purpose, when we feel that there's a creator that's infinitely more real than us, we feel this is a great joy. We know that we can serve the creator. Suddenly we feel that there's a purpose for every instant of our existence, but we don't feel the creator in a real way. We still feel ourselves. That's called the lower unity. That's this joy is a ratzah. It gives us a desire for the upper unity. Machmas Giloy, or because of the revelation of godliness. In other words, suddenly you realize that there's something more real. Mamash, Shemitzvotah, Sheba Mitzvotah, which is in his command. When you do God's commandments. Shal Yudezeh, by means of this, love Lavado, Techsof. To God alone you will desire. Petichle Nafsho, and your soul will have a thirsting. With all of your being, with great joy. This is the idea of Aaron lighting the candles. So first of all, Aaron prepares. He lets everybody know that there is such a thing as God. He lets everybody know that there is such a thing as a creator. He lets everyone know that the creator loves us and he's creating us from love. He lets us know these things. But then we have to get our act together. We have to we have to get rid of the bad, first of all, and we have to crush ourselves a little bit, and we have to reveal the essence of our soul. That's the oil. And then Aaron gives the happiness. Aaron makes it click. He makes the happiness, and he makes it, you feel that you can really do it. It's the same thing as we're learning Chassidut now, these wonderful ideas. We think this is so amazing, so wonderful. This is for big tzaddikim. It's not. It's for me and you. Each and every person has to, but you have to decide on your own. I can't decide for you. That I tell you that this is good for you, right? It could be that maybe I'll convince myself, but I'm not going to convince you. A person has to convince himself. A person has to feel himself, one second, this is really for me. This is not just for the teachers or for the big tzaddikim or for the big chassidim. Every single person can really feel that he's being created, which is the truth, and for the purpose, which is also the truth. So just to feel the truth. But the fact is, it's very difficult to do this, and that's why we need Aaron to do it. That, which in our case, Aaron is like the Rebbe. He's giving us all this information, telling us what God is, telling us how God is creating us. Now we have to do the work ourselves. We have to clean ourselves. We have to crush ourselves a little bit. But Aaron is the one, and we have to also light the fire. But Aaron is the one he's the one that actually gives the impetus, the inspiration, the knowledge that we can do it, and encourages us to do it. But that's what we're supposed to do. This is not just a side thing. The point is, this is not just a side thing. And there's a lot of interesting things in the world. There's music, there's art, there's this, there's the sports, sports, the exercises, this, and there's also Judaism, and then there's Hasidic Judaism. Hasidic Judaism is for the whole entire world. This is the basic goal of all mankind. On that basic goal, you can add on music and sports and and intellect and learning and being a doctor and being a lawyer. But the main thing is God, the creator, and God's expectations from each and every one of us. But this power, that there's the Aaron, la'alot at the nefesh, to inspire the soul, michutz laparoches, even though it's outside of the veil, and this is in a place where we don't feel God, liot bo gilui ahava, that we can have this revelation of love for God, she bechinas ein sof, that God is the infinite one. Hine al zeh, and this it says, chukas olam d'torotechem, and this it says that it is a eternal law for all of the generations, me'et ben Israel, from the Jewish people. What does it mean? Me'et. Why does it mean from eight? It's from God. It's what does it mean from the Jewish people? It's a statute for me'et. This is the letters of the Torah, me'alef ad taf, from aleph taf, namely the letters of the Torah, me'alef ad taf, from the first letter until the last. The letters of the Torah. The Torah was given in letters. Pure godliness is revealed where? In letters. What was in the Holy of Holies? The 10 Commandments, the letters that were carved into the tablets. Letters. These letters are the way that God expresses. There's two types of letters. There's one type of letters that God creates the world with. The other type of letters are the letters that God puts the soul into the world. That's the Torah. If you want to call it the body of the world and the soul of the world. The body of the world, that's the letters that God used to create the world. Let there be light, let there be a firmament. But the letters of the Torah, that's the soul of the world. And that's by means of the learning of the Torah of the Jewish people. Sha'adam lome, the person learns, umasim liba, when you learn the Torah, right? A book. It's a book in the library. All other books in the library, including all the religious books, are not, they're books. They're books. They explain certain things. You want to know how to fix your car. You know, you want to ease your conscience. So you read these different books. But Judaism is talking about what God wants, the Creator Himself. That's the Creator's book. All the other books are written by people, all of them. You want to say inspired people, you want to say motivated people, but people. The Torah is the only book that even claims to be written directly, every single word, by the Creator Himself, the one who creates all the angels and creates all the powers. The Creator Himself wrote the book. When you read this book, it means that you're reading what the Creator is saying right now, not what He said back there 3,000. He didn't change His mind. This is what the Creator is saying right now. When a person learns the Torah and he puts his heart, v'nafshu, and his soul, and the letters that he's speaking, in love, in fear and love, that's Aramaic, that these letters, the letters of the Torah come from what's called the high mountains, upper God. It's the way of, it's just a terminology, but it means God's upper wisdom. Therefore, a Torah Or. That's why the Torah is called light. Like the lights in the base of Migdal, in that Aaron lit. Shehi, this is Me'ira, the Ner, this is what makes the lamp shine. Shener mitzvah, that the commandments are the lamp. This is the vessel, the light. All the commandments are with physical things. The commandments are you use the world. But that's the light, that's the body. But the light of the commandments is the Torah. But the Torah, this is light. The chayut mitzvah, and the life of the commandments. The aim of gormot, and this is what causes liot koach, power to Aaron. Liot, to be shushvana, shushvin, that this is what enables Aaron. The Torah, this is what enables Aaron to be the escort of the Jewish people, the escort of the queen. What does it mean, the escort? To inspire the Jewish people, lahamshich or, to draw down light and revelation of love into the souls of the Jewish people. Liot bo, so that there will be or of a simcha, there will be this joy, simcha of mitzvahs, which will encourage and enable and inspire the Jewish people to go from below to above, like the fire. And this all comes from the Torah. And that's really, and if you look in the world, see what's going on in the world, that's what it's boiling down to now. That's what it's boiling down to right now. The Jews are coming back to the Torah. The Jews are coming back to the Torah. As much as the Jews would like to just say we're like everybody else, and the Torah is like every other book, but little by little, the world is forcing us to say that it's not so. It's not so. The whole thing goes according to the Torah. And the thing and the claim that we have to the land of Israel is only because of the Torah. That's our claim. Except for that, there's all these different lies that they can make up. But our claim to the land, the physical land of Israel, is because of the Torah. The reason that the Jews have the land is because of the Torah. That's the whole essence of the Torah. And where does the Torah come from? From God, who's creating everybody. He's creating everyone. It's not just the book of the Jews, it's the book of everybody. That's what I say. The Chassidut is coming to teach us is for everybody, to teach us that God is creating everyone for a purpose. The non-Jews have 7 Noahide commandments, and the Jews have Moshiach NOW. So that's the Torah. The whole thing revolves around the Torah. The Torah determines what God is, determines what Jews are, determines the land of Israel is, determines what Jews are supposed to do, what they're supposed to say, what they're supposed to think, what non-Jews are supposed to do and say and think. The Torah. Maybe we can say the library. That's why it's called the library, because it's filled with lies. I just made that. I don't know if that's true, but it's filled with lies. I mean, certainly there's practical things, medicine and art and things like that. There's practical things in the library. There certainly are. But to say that that's truth, right, and to even make the claim that it's truth, it's practical. There's practicality. But the reason why, what we should do with these practical things, if you haven't got the Torah, then you can be like the Germans. They were the most smartest people. They are the greatest philosophers in the world. And they used all this practical knowledge for death. Moshiach NOW, which is not the case. So that's the whole thing of the Torah. The Torah is the one that is what determines what reality really is. It's the manufacturer's instructions. There are no other manufacturer's instructions. The only book which even claims to be written directly by the manufacturer himself constantly is the Torah. Moshiach NOW, which is not the case. Amya Oretz, which is not the case. People who are ignorant of the Torah, she'ein bo bechinas chachma, he hasn't got this level of surrender to God. The rabbis say, lo Amya Oretz chassid. It says that an Amya Oretz, an illiterate Jew, cannot be a chassid. A chassid is a person that does more than what's required of him. Achli yotam shachar, the Torah. Now we're saying Torah here, it doesn't mean you have to know all the Shas. It means even if you just learn a little bit of the Torah, but you know that the Torah belongs to God. And you want to learn as much as possible. Some people haven't got the intellect, some people haven't got the time, some people haven't got the opportunity, right? There's no one to teach them. But the little bit of Torah, even if you say Shema Yisrael, and you know what the words mean, right? That's also Torah. It's a sentence in the Torah. The Torah, in order to bring this Torah, the holiness and the joy and the love of godliness, which is in the Torah, below to the Jewish people, this is by means of Moses. Who gave us the Torah? Moses. Like it says in the Zohar, what is the advantage of a person with all of his efforts that he makes in the world, right? The book of Ecclesiastes. That he works under the sun. All the work that a person does under the sun, what's the advantage of it? Right? You get these big kings that ruled over the whole world, Achashverosh and Alexander the Great, and all these people they won. So when they die, what becomes of all of their successes and their riches? Absolutely nothing. What did they add to the world? They didn't do anything eternal. It's basically the same thing as a squirrel gathering up acorns, right? So they conquered the whole world. So what? When it was going, it was great, but they died, and all the people that they ruled also died. So what's left of the whole business? So it would have been better just to gather up acorns. And when the person dies, there's not special worms that eat them up. It's the same worms that eat up a squirrel. It's Alexander the Great. He says, that's what it says in the book of Ecclesiastes. What is the benefit of all of the work that a person does under the sun? It says under the sun is really, truly meaningless. It's here and it's gone. Says the Gemara, Shani Amal Doraisa, but it's different if you work at the Torah. Because the Torah is above the sun. The Torah comes from the Creator who creates the sun and the moon. He creates the whole creation. We're talking about the Torah and the commandments. But the Torah and the commandments, not just the commandments you're putting on tefillin, but everything you do in life, if it's according to the Torah, then it's eternal. B'sham there, who madrigas Moshe, that's where Moses is. Moses, it says by Moses covered peh, that he couldn't speak for covered lashon. He couldn't speak. His mouth and his tongue were tied. Why? Ki bechinas esek Torah, because the learning of the Torah in enu madrigas simcha shel mitzvah hina, right? Eno, it is not the same level as the joy of the commandments, which this is Ratz Libcha. This is coming up to godliness from below, from outside of the veil. But the thing of the Torah is that's inside of the veil. The thing of the Torah is purely coming down into the world. The whole novelty that God could really be revealed in the physical world, that you could be happy doing what God wants in this physical world, that was Moses. Moses was the first person in history to bring the essence of God into the most simple, mundane things in the world. Moses. It says he brought the heavens to earth. So a Jew can put on tefillin and be happy. He was the first one that broke through from above to below. After that, Aaron could use this ability then, that the door that Moses opened up, to inspire the Jews, that they should go from below to above. But Moses' thing was not raising up the Jewish people as much as it was to bringing God down. That God became infinitely close to us. That's the Torah. And all these religions that try to go against Judaism, they try to say the opposite. God is far away. God is far away. You have to have something in the middle. But the fact of the matter is, God is infinitely close to us. Not only he creates us, but he creates us for a purpose. And God cares about every single person. That was what Moses did. He gave us the Torah. That's the purpose. He bechinas esek Torah, because this whole thing of learning the Torah, learning the Torah is not the same thing as the joy of the commandments that Aaron brought in order to elevate everyone outside, that's outside of the veil, to go from below to above. Moses' thing is not running to God, but shuv, bringing God into the world. Sha'al Yedei Torah, by means of the Torah, you can reveal the oneness of God below in the world. Kamula Maila, just like above. That's the Torah. The Torah is the word of God, really. It's not just a book that Moses gave. It's true, Moses gave it. It's not just the instruction book for Judaism. It is. It certainly is. The Torah is the word and the will and the wisdom of God, really, right now, each and every word. And when a Jew learns the Torah, that those words become activated. Like it says, the words that I put into your mouth. Devarai mamash, these are the words of God, really. And not just when you read the 5 books of Moses or the prophets. Even when you learn the Talmud, you learn the Mishnah. Even when you learn the laws that come out of the Talmud or the Mishnah. These are the words of God, really. The rabbis say, Matnita Malchaza. Like it says, the rabbis say that the Mishnah, that's the king. Like the king himself. In other words, the words of the Mishnah, those are the words of God himself. Can I turn the page over? 1 second. How do I do this? Oh, here we go. 1 second. Yeah, good. Okay. Yes. Excuse me. Here we go. Oh. When a person learns the Torah, so is united with the word of God, namely the laws, even when he learns the Mishnah. So you might think, hey, 1 second, the Mishnah doesn't say that. The Mishnah says, Rabbi Gamliel says like this, and Rabbi Eliezer says like this, and the Shammai says like this, and Hillel says like that. That's not God. That's Beit Shammai. That's Beit Hillel. So that's the whole essence of Judaism, is who are the rabbis? Who is Moses? Who is Aaron? Who are these people? Who is Abraham? Who is Isaac? Who is Jacob? It depends on us revealing the Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Aaron, the rabbis inside of each one of us. And that's what these great rabbis did. That's the uniqueness of Judaism, that God's word comes into this world. But there's criterion. Don't think because God's word came into this world that anyone, no, and God is everywhere. God creates everyone and everything. So, I'm also Aaron, and I'm God, and I'm Moses, and I'm God. And I can do whatever I want, right? So that's what the Torah is here for. The Torah is here for to say, yeah, you could be right, but you're not. Because the Torah says not. The Torah says God creates everything, yes. And that the word of God comes into the world, yes. But the Torah tells us what the criteria for this are. You can't just stand up on a stage because you're a good speaker and you're enthusiastic and you get the spirit. You can say whatever you want to. You have to know the whole entire Torah. You have to be a God-fearing person. You have to do the commandments. A prophet has to be a Jew. There's criteria. When a person says the words of the Torah, so he's saying the words of God. So if so, it's as though the Pesach has it, it's as though when you say the words, what Rabbi Akiva says, or what Rabbi Shammai says, or Hillel says, it's like that God is speaking through you. This is the level, like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that the words of the Torah that he speaks, because he has love and fear of God, so these words are God speaking through you. You become like a prophet. Shalochim, therefore, a person like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he didn't have to pray. Why? Because prayer is going from below to above. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, people like that, by means of learning the Torah, he reached the same level. Kamosha Omer, like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, B'chad Katirat Katirna. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he wrote the book, the Zohar. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he was like holy of holies. He said, B'chad Katirat Katirna, I am tied with one knot to God. I am tied, bound with God, one. Shehu Bechinas Bittul Borein Sof, he was totally united with God. Bechinas Yehudi Elo, in the upper unity. Therefore, the rabbis say, Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. Therefore, the rabbis say that learning Torah is equal to all the commandments. So we can in no way underestimate what the importance of the Torah is. And even though the Torah is very obligating, I've said this before, but I want to say it again. I was not always religious until I was like 25 years old. I was not religious at all. And then I went to a lecture of a very big professor in America, who was very, very well known, very famous. And I was lucky to get in the third balcony. The place was packed, and outside there was big loudspeakers. And this person began to speak. He was the guru of LSD. He had been a big professor in whatever it is, Harvard or Princeton, Harvard, I think, and psychology and psychology. And he was a professor, and he left being a professor to take this LSD. He conquered all of the minds of the youth. This is a new world, a good world. And he stood up on the stage and he spoke, and it was just so incredibly hypnotizing the way he spoke beautifully. And all of a sudden he said that everything in the world is good. Do whatever you want to. Don't hurt people. Anyone who has taken this drug will not want to hurt people. He said there's only one bad thing in the world, and that is the theistic Jews and their jealous God. Now, afterwards, I looked it up, and at that time, I didn't know what was going on, and I had almost zero Jewish identity. I mean, I knew I was a Jew, but it meant less than the size of my shoes. It meant absolutely nothing. But he said that, and I thought, well, then Judaism does mean something. Right? Why is this big, great professor that so many people, all of a sudden he picks out the Jews? I don't even know what a Jew is. I don't even know what it is. Why? It must be something really, something really, how do you say, offensive. There must be something to it to be so offensive to him to say a thing like this. And afterwards, anyway, I looked into it and I discovered that the whole thing was this person that spoke was definitely not an anti-Semite. He was not an anti-Semite. He was against the Torah. He was against the idea that there was an objective, absolute good and bad that told you what to do. He didn't like that. He didn't like that. And that's the basis of anti-Semitism when it really comes down to it. But back then, the Jews were so, how do you say, amorphous. There was no identity to them that he couldn't come out. But the Torah was very clear. The Torah says you must do this, you cannot do this, it's forbidden. And he didn't like that idea. And he's right. He's got a very good point. Who's going to tell me what to do? But if you say, one second, but this is the Creator. He's creating you. He's telling you these things for your own benefit. He's telling you these things, what to do. It's like you get a washing machine and you throw away the instructions. I'll figure out what to do on my own. Right? You didn't know that there was a rinse cycle. You didn't know that. Who cares? Right? That's what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said. Because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he was tied to the giver of the Torah, but he realized that the giver of the Torah gave the Torah in order that we should be united with him. We should use the world and perfect the world. That's the whole thing. The whole thing is the world. To perfect this physical world, the creation, the way the Creator wants it. Not to go to heaven. That's a selfish thing. That's not the purpose of the Torah. Hu bechinas bittul. This is tremendous. This is what's called harmony with God. Mamish. The bechinas yechudi elo. That's the upper unity. Therefore, the rabbis say Talmud Torah kaneged kulam. That's what the rabbis say, that learning Torah is equal to everything. That's why, whether they know it or not, like in Israel now, there's always like I said before, the state of Israel was established that nothing is holy. Nothing is holy. We're going to be a regular nation like everybody else, and then everybody's going to accept us. So we see what happened. Right? We see what came out of it. But still, there are still diehard leaders of the Jews in Israel that say that this learning Torah is totally worthless. It's just a big waste of time. It's only for cowards. People should get guns and go out and fight, and that's all thing. But the fact of the matter is that they've got a very good point, because it doesn't seem like the people who are learning Torah do anything. They're not doing anything. And the guy next door, he comes back with a tank that he can't conquer from the enemy, and everybody cheers him, and he's got all sorts of medals. And this guy sits and learns Torah. He's got an old 50-year-old book that he's learning from, right, black and white, and he didn't risk his life. He didn't do anything. But the fact of the matter is it's not so. The fact of the matter is that both of them are necessary. You have to have Aaron that inspires the Jews to do, but you also have to have Moses that brings godliness into the world. Have that, and that's only through the Torah. That's like a body and a soul, right? The soul is, at first glance, not a big deal. You don't see the soul. You see the main thing is the body. But without the soul, there's the body is dead. True, without the body, the soul is worthless totally. There's no such. They don't tell a woman, congratulations, you just gave birth to a soul. What does that mean? Right? But on the other hand, a body that's not working, God forbid. But at least there's a chance you can bring it alive. So the body for sure is important. But here the Rebbe is saying, but the soul of Judaism is the Torah. And that's what Moses brought. In order that you could have this level of total surrender to God, which only Moses can bring. That's what it says. That's what it says. You should take to you pure oil. That's this pure chachma. That's why they brought it to Moses, because only Moses can provide this pure godliness in the world through the Torah. Ezu chacham, who is a wise man, a person who roas and noled, that he sees and he feels that he's being created from nothing to something. That's what the Torah brings into the world, that there's a creator. Like it says that God renews every moment. Ma'aseh Bereshis is the creation of the world. That God creates everything from nothing to something has to be constant. I mean, that's logical. I mean, if we say that the world is made from nothing, so it means that there's nothing here. It's all big nothing. It's not made of atoms and quarks or spirit. It's made from nothing. So if so, well, I'm nothing and you're nothing and everything is nothing. How are we here if there's nothing? So the answer is it's a big miracle. It's a big miracle. God is creating us every single instant from nothing. And it's Moses that enables us to feel this fact, this amazing miracle that we're being created. That's the Torah. because we're being created for a purpose. Because ani avaya lo sheniti. I am God. God never changes. God, you are the one that were before the world. The same God as before the world is right now. In order to be the world, who rak ha'ora ba'alma, that God creates us. This is like a ray of godliness. That's why we feel we're separate. Therefore, it has to be renewed all the time. Shalot batel, so that it won't be totally negated, won't just evaporate. That's creative power. Kasher Yisim Aliba, when a person puts this to his heart, then he'll be totally surrendered to God. And when we are surrendered to the Creator, then being in harmony with the Creator, Ruach Aisi Ruach V'Emshi, God reacts. God reacts. Now you can imagine a person who is an atheist, which basically that's all of us. Because what's an atheist? An atheist feels that I'm the only real existence. Like I said, there's no such thing as an atheist. There's an I-theist. A person believes in himself. All of us are. So now we're saying, no. God exists. Okay, God exists. God creates us. No. God creates us for a purpose. Okay, the purpose is from the Torah. All right, good. So God creates. When we do what it says in the Torah, we learn Torah, God reacts. And 2 seconds ago, I didn't even believe there was God. And now you're telling me that he reacts to what I do, that he's infinite, he's creating me. He says, not only does he react to what you do, that's called Ruach Haisi Ruach. Emshich Ruach, that God reacts in ways that are far above what you did. It's like saying to somebody, would you like to earn $1 million? And the person says, yeah. It says, okay, can you lift one finger up? He says, yeah. Okay, you got the money, $1 million. What did I do? You did something. You lifted your finger, right? So it says, Ruach Aisi Ruach, that when we do a little thing, that God reacts in a little way. And then afterwards, God gives us the whole jackpot, the whole thing. Emshich Ruach, it draws down a level of godliness, which is true, we don't see it. But that's called Bittul or Ensof al Nefesh Besek Torah. That's what happens when we learn the Torah. And the Tanya says it's a good thing we don't feel it, because if we did, we would go crazy, this relationship. And this, we try to finish it. Yes, let's finish. That's what it means. That's what it means. You command the Jewish people. The word command is from the word of attachment. You unite yourself. Tzavta kashrut, attachment. You, Moses, attach the Jewish people to God. Al yadei, by means of that they bring to you this pure oil. The beginning Moshe, they have to bring to Moses first. Then Moses is the one that brings godliness down. Godliness can come down. Liot, to be chukas olam, it can be eternal. You'll feel Me'et b'nei Israel, we said Aleph Tov, that the Torah suddenly has a new meaning to it. The Torah has a new life to it. That the letters of the Torah will cause sheyaroch Aaron. This will bring Aaron to that. Aaron's words will have an effect on you. That you'll work on yourself, and you'll have this joy in doing so, and the joy of the commandments. Moses is the Torah. Aaron is mainly the commandments, machmas, because the letters of the Torah, they are drawn down from the level of Moses, which unite the Jewish people, and then Aaron, and then Aaron takes over, that Aaron can inspire the Jewish people to run back up to God. Kativ me'erav boker. By Aaron, it says you have to work from the evening to the morning. First of all, deal with the darkness of your own egotism. Till the morning, that's Reisha Chashucha. In the beginning, there's darkness, and the end, there's light. That's why Aaron says, light in the candles from the evening to the morning. But Moses, that he is the level of Shuv, coming godliness down to the world, revealing godliness down in this, what's called the upper unity here in the world. It says, Lalot ner tamid. Then Moses makes us realize that constantly we are being created, constantly we are being inspired. Shugila Yehud Elah. This is not fighting against the darkness, not fighting against our ego, realizing that the darkness and the ego are created by God. The darkness doesn't become dark anymore. Our ego doesn't become opposite of God. Miyazaman, this is above, Lamaila Miyazaman, above time. Ulafanav, and before God, darkness is like light. That means everything becomes equal. So our ego, which previously was covering over godliness, will be our greatest asset, our uniqueness that we can serve God. So this whole going and coming back, this dynamic arousal of the Jewish people to act like Jewish people and to feel like Jewish people, this was all done by Moses and by Aaron. Moses brought godliness down into the world, one type of inspiration constantly, and Aaron brought another type of godliness to inspire us to go up. And eventually this will be through the whole world. The whole entire world will reveal and feel the oneness of the Creator and the uniqueness of the creation and how God wants to react to what we do, to be partners with us, and wants us to be partners with Him. That's what is hinted at in the first sentence of this week's Torah portion. The Jewish people bringing crushed olive oil to Moses, and Moses gives it to Aaron, and Aaron lights up the lights from evening to morning, and then Moses is able to do it constantly, ner tamid, constantly, to feel godliness constantly, and to feel our purpose in the world being renewed constantly. Now let us learn the Davar Malchut.